when Israeli F-15 fighter jets carrying missiles that have been out of production for decades are in Iranian airspace like no one's business. A huge question mark hangs in front of everyone's eyes. If the Iranian Air Force is equipped with a 4.5-generation fighter jet as sharp as Pakistan's J-10 at this moment, would Israel still dare to be so arrogant as to stage a low-grade play of old planes and old bombs? Israel's air supremacy in the Israeli Air Force area. Israel Air Force air dominance in the region is unshakable. Its highly specialized combat capabilities, precision strike system and rich combat experience, forming a huge generation gap advantage over neighboring countries. On the contrary, Iran's Air Force is still equipped with old US-made F-14, Tomcat, F-4, Ghost, F-5, Tiger, and Russian-made MiG-29, etc., which have been in service for an alarming period of time. These fighters have been in service for an alarming number of years. Their bodies are aging badly, and their avionics and weapons systems have long lagged behind the times. Iran's self-developed Qassar and other warplanes, although given a domestic aura, but the technical level is still low in third generation improvement level, cannot constitute a substantial threat. In this context, the Israeli Air Force on the Iranian airspace to form a want to come, want to leave, the suppression of the situation. The Israeli Air Force recently released a video, just become a dramatic footnote to this power gap. A fuselage sprayed with the number 450 of the F-15 fighters slid out of the hangar, ready to carry out long-range strike missions. This 450 is a real veteran. It was involved in the 1985 World Shaking Operation Wooden Leg. It was involved in the World Shaking Operation Wooden Foot in 1985, when 10 Israeli F-15s successfully destroyed the PLO headquarters in Tunisia in a 3,000-kilometer raid. 40 years later, this old, decorated aircraft is still in action. Its mounted weapons configuration is even more eye-catching. The main weapon is the Spice 1000, glide-guided bombs, and shoulder air combat self-defense is the heavy responsibility of the U.S. Air Force has long been retired, out of production for nearly 3 decades of the U.S. AIM-7, Sparrow, medium-range AIM-7, Sparrow, medium-range air-to-air missile, AIM-7, Sparrow, as the world's first second-generation air-to-air missiles. Its semi-active radar guidance means that after the launch of the carrier must continue to irradiate the target, not only greatly limiting the tactical maneuverability of the warplanes in a complex electromagnetic environment is also very vulnerable to failure. The main force of the Israeli Air Force in service, such as the F-15I, Thunder, and F-16I, Storm, its airborne radar is also generally stuck in the era of mechanical scanning. F-16I equipped with a PG-68V9 radar is known as the strongest mechanical scanning radar, but compared with the real active phased array radar in the detection distance, multi-target tracking capability, anti-jamming performance and reliability, there is at least 2 generations of generation difference. Therefore, when Israel to 450 F-15 such a senior fighter, with the AIM-7 museum-level missiles in the skies above Iran, behind the signal cold and clear, the Iranian Air Force is weak in the vulnerability of the air defense system, so that Israel is confident enough to not have to sacrifice the highest-end configuration to complete the task. This is a naked contempt for Iran's air defense capabilities, but also based on the absolute strength gap and tactical confidence, calculating, can save. The root of the opponent is really too much on the stage. However, what if the trajectory of history is reversed at a certain point? Once upon a time, the rumor of J-10 exported to Iran triggered international speculation and discussion. If Iran had seized the opportunity to successfully introduce a certain number of J-10 fighters such as those equipped by the Pakistani Air Force, the whole Middle East air power game would have been rewritten. J-10 is China's mature and advanced 4.5-generation multi-role fighters. Its core combat power comes from a powerful combination of domestically produced active, phased array radar and PL-15E over-the-horizon air-to-air missiles. This radar has excellent detection range, multi-target tracking, attack capability and strong anti-electronic jamming performance, and is capable of detecting and locking onto enemy aircraft at long ranges. The PL-15E, with its amazing range and active radar-guided, launch after nevermind capability, can be used in front of the newest model of the AIM-120 and can be used against the F-15I, which is currently relied on by Israel. Israel is currently relying on the F-15I, F-16I and even older F-15C, a main body into an overwhelming threat. In the face of Iran's possession of the J-10 as a new variable, the Israeli Air Force's arrogance and low-profile tactics will instantly lose their basis of existence. It can be asserted that Israeli commanders will never allow the grandfather F-15 with AIM-7 to challenge the J-10 equipped with PL-15E, which is tantamount to suicide. Tactical level will be subversive adjustment. The F-35I will become the absolute sharp knife, the Israeli Air Force's treasure of the bottom of the box. The US-made F-35I, all-powerful king, stealth fighter will become the core of the strike. Using its excellent stealth performance to penetrate the Iranian air defense network, the first task is inevitably to hunt down the J-10 parked on the ground, destroying it before it takes off, i.e., kicking in the door action. If intercepted in the air, the F-35I will be the only platform that can circle the J-10 in relative safety and seek to kill it. High-end munitions. All the Israeli fighters involved in high-risk airspace combat, whether F-35I, F-15I or F-16I, their air combat mounts will completely say goodbye to such antiques as the AIM-7, and will certainly be cleanly equipped with the most advanced AIM-120 series of medium-range rounds, as well as the top fighting rounds such as the AIM-9X, to ensure that they have a munitions advantage in the aerial combat exchanges. Older fighters taking a backseat, older F-15Cs like the 450, will be extremely vulnerable to the radar and missiles of the J-10. They are likely to be strictly limited to secondary missions in relatively safe airspace, or completely withdrawn from high-risk confrontation, and even if F-15Is and F-16Is are involved in the attack, they will not enter the field until F-35Is have cleared the main threat and seized local air control, and then they will carry out the ground strike mission under tight escort or strong electronic suppression, and be on high alert for any residual threat throughout. The J-10 will be on high alert for a sneak attack by the remaining J-10s. Unfortunately, there is no warm and fuzzy if in history. The cold reality is that Iran's sky is still open to the old Israeli F-15 with AIM-7 missiles. Tehran's decision to pass by China's J-10 series of fighter jets has become a strategic gap that is difficult to bridge. The essence of Israel's fine-tuning and tactical humiliation is based on the opponent's absolute air superiority, which cannot be resisted. The fact that the Israeli Air Force dares to run through Iranian airspace with old planes and bombs is the most glaring illustration of the failure of modernization of the Iranian Air Force. When the most advanced air power is monopolized by the opponent, the national border is just a weak symbol. The helplessness of the Iranian sky shows a cold truth: no strength to defend the airspace, destined to become a stage for others to show off their strength. In the future, if any country wants to truly control its own destiny, the establishment of a well-equipped, well-trained, complete system of modernized air force is not a choice, but a necessity for survival. This has been repeatedly written in the Middle East over the Iron Law.